Yo, what's up, Internet? Todd Patrick Dorsey coming at you today to talk to you about how I launched my recruiting agency with 0 cold calls. All right, so this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. And there's an age-old debate on cold calling. Do I have to? Do I not have to? It sucks. I don't want to do it. I hate it. It's the only way to do it. It's the most effective way. No one will take you seriously if you don't. You can't start a company without doing it. Yes, you can. No, you can't. You get it. Back and forth for a while on this topic. So, number one, I want to share my own personal experience with it. And then number two, I want to talk about it from a higher level because my experience isn't the only one out there. So, first part, I launched my own recruiting agency without doing a single cold call. I did a blend of direct messaging, email, LinkedIn. I shot a couple of videos so that people got to see my face. And then eventually I started doing some direct mail. So I started doing handwritten letters. And I kind of did a blended approach. I did 5 or 6 touch points. I don't remember exactly. Offering my services, and I turned the volume up on it. I did a lot of volume. So it is definitely possible to launch without doing any cold calls. And part of the reason is that you don't need that many clients to earn good money doing recruiting. So honestly, once you have 5 clients, you're pretty off to the races, especially when you do really good work. They're going to come back for a return business. They're going to get referrals out, and you're pretty much good to go. So I would say, the first 75, 100, up to 125K, or, it kind of depends on what you're closing. You can definitely get that launched and get enough clients by not doing any cold calls and just doing direct messaging. Because basically what you're doing is you're kind of like trolling the market, like imagine a fishing boat, trolling through the ocean and catching fish. Since you don't need that many clients to get yourself self-sufficient, you can kind of do that strategy. So can you launch without doing it? Absolutely. Definitely possible. Again, first 100, 7,500, 125K, in my experience, you can get to that just by kind of, trolling the market, 5 touch point sequence, kind of doing a blend of different direct messaging. Okay. That said, it is a huge advantage if you can do cold calling. It is basically a superpower, and it is a highly effective way of doing outreach. So, if we were measuring the touch points for getting direct response and understanding whether or not this potential client could be a client, cold calling wins from a perspective of it's the most authentic form of communication. Direct messaging could be done by someone who's not you. Email can be done by someone who's not you. Letters can be done by someone who's not you. You can send videos. They seem canned. Like a cold call, it's you. They can hear your voice. They can interact with you. It's very hard to fake. So, even less hard to fake is stopping off and dropping off, like you're in front of them. So from an outreach perspective, it is a really, as far as the rank goes, it's up there. Probably drop-offs and stopping off in person is probably, number 1 for authenticity, and then cold calls would be number 2, and then down from there. And authenticity and reaching out is really important. Like, you probably know, it's like people don't really trust people that much, they don't really believe what they say is true, and they don't really know if the message that they're getting is from them, and it just clears through the clutter and creates an authentic connection, which in recruiting is really important. Establishing a relationship and creating an authentic connection is really important. So, from that perspective, physical drop-offs, again, number 1 probably, and then cold call number 2 for authenticity. It's like, yeah, it's up there. And especially if you're doing outreach outside of just your own city, which you should do, cold call is pretty much the only one. So it is a superpower, and it is something that if you are willing and able to do it, you should absolutely do it. Like, don't leave it by the wayside. If you have a 5 or 6 touch point sequence, get cold calling in there for 1 or 2 if you're willing to do it. And it's going to be to your advantage. You will get more business and you will get it faster if you're willing to do it. If you're not willing to do it, just understand that it will become a necessary part. So when I look out at successful recruiting companies that are bigger than one person, where they scale to a couple of people or they're an executive search firm, you have to do cold calls, because you need to get deeper into the market, and you need to be able to make more of a smaller pool. Whereas, when you're just trolling a big ocean, you can just troll the big ocean and get what you get, and you're just trying to fill your own plate and you're okay. And if that's what you want to get to, is just running your own little mini enterprise, that's awesome, then you're pretty much good to go. As soon as you want to scale beyond one person, it's needed. It is definitely needed, because you need to do all of the touch points in order to make it successful. And there's a famous marketing adage of, I don't know one way to get 100 clients, I know 100 ways to get one. Meaning that you need to implement all of the different outreach methods that have proven to be effective. And eventually, we're just talking about hunting. There is the farming, and there is the marketing aspect of, getting out good content and having that be a function too, and that is also really important. But when I look at the guys that move to the next level, guys and gals that move to the next level in recruiting, they're doing some content, they're doing some cold calls, they're doing some cold emails, and they're blending this together, and they're able to get enough business. So if you're willing to do it, just understand that you have a huge advantage, and you should definitely work it into your process. If you're not willing to do it, that's cool. You can still get launched your own, mini enterprise, but for the most part, to move up to that next level, it is going to be a necessary component. For the most part, proving wrong, you can drop a ton of money on LinkedIn ads and Facebook ads, and you may be able to find another way, but it's just those ads, they build up, and your spend gets huge, and that's hard to pull off, whereas a cold call is pretty cheap and pretty effective. So, if you want to move up to that next level, it probably is going to be an important part. That doesn't mean that you have to do it. You can hire someone to do it. That's part of running a business. You hire out what you're not strongest at in the different pieces of the business, and you can definitely hire it out. But in my personal experience, when I moved into executive retained search, I had to hire a full-time sales guy to get the cold calls done, because it is a really important part. But that was me moving from 100, 125, 150 grand a year to up to the next level, and it's a pretty necessary part. The other thing is this: how you're wired isn't necessarily how you have to stay. So even if you hate cold calling now, read about it, watch videos on it. There will probably be an approach that you're comfortable with, that will be effective, that you will be able to implement. So for me personally, I'm not the same man I was when I launched my company. I've grown and I've changed, and you can too. So even if right now it's something that you really don't like and really don't enjoy, that doesn't necessarily have to be the end all be all and the truth. Like, yeah, maybe it won't become your favorite thing, but it probably can move up to something where you don't mind it as much, and you're willing to implement it, a couple hours a week to get where you want. So those are my thoughts on it. Again, you can definitely launch on your own. You can get to be, self-sufficient and have a pretty good little mini enterprise. And if that's the level that you want to get to, that's awesome. Get there either way. And then if you want to move up to the next level, it probably is necessary, but again, at that point, you've made enough money that you can probably hire it out. So anyways, those are my thoughts on it. That's my perspective. It is absolutely a valid way of doing outreach. It is not needed to get your initial inertia, but if you want to, get beyond a certain amount, it probably is, but then there's workarounds for it. including, you know, changing your approach. So, you know, right now, me personally, I'm just going to be honest, I'm not doing them. I have someone that I've hired to help me on that front, because when I looked at my bottleneck, it was just a task that I kept on putting at the bottom of the to-do list, and it needed to get done. And I was like, shit, I'm holding myself back at this point. So, you know, there's workarounds to make it effective either way. So those are my long, rambling thoughts on cold calling. Hope that helps someone out there. Go out there today, kill it, crush it, make it an awesome day. Todd out, but I will be back to talk to you soon. Hey, great video, Todd. Real quick, before I forget, because I always forget to do this, I run a Facebook group that provides support around growing and launching your recruiting company. I'm putting a link to the Facebook group down below the video. I'm in there in the Facebook group weekly providing support around growing and launching your recruiting business. So if you have interest in doing that, please click on the link below, join the group. I'm in there providing support. Also, if the video helped you at all, please hit like or subscribe. It will make me feel warm and fuzzy inside, and it really actually is a huge help for me to help more people launch and grow and make a bunch of money, living a great life, doing recruiting and enjoying and having control over their time. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy my other super cheesy videos.